Wake Up to Money from BBC 5 Live.
Hello, welcome to your Wake Up to Money podcast.
Wake Up to Money with Felicity Hannah.
Good morning. Now, if you still have that September back to school feeling, I hope that it's colliding with that Friday feeling and that on balance, you're in a good mood this morning. And I hope that my guests are all in good moods too, especially Matt Boyd, founder of Exceptional Individuals, who joins me throughout the show today. Matt, good morning.
Morning, Felicity. How are you?
I'm very well, I hope you are. Now, you run a brilliant company, a neurodiversity specialist recruiter. You help people who have things like dyslexia, dyspraxia, autism, ADHD to find work. You pair them up with employers. I was nosing around your website last night and I saw that some of the people on your team online, you list them as neurodivergent or neurotypical and or neurodiverse. I've never seen it stated so openly, and I was really curious about why you decided to do that.
Yeah, so for us, one of the most powerful things is that lived experience. It's people that are actually neurodiverse in the team, supporting people that are out of work or in work that are neurodiverse as well. So we thought it's really important, especially with a lot of the amazing case studies that are out there of neurodiverse, successful individuals, people like Richard Branson or Alan Sugar, people that have achieved so highly, sometimes it can be quite hard to relate to them. So what we wanted to do is make sure we're sharing our stories as a team. And as a team of 16, 17 individuals, 80% are neurodiverse. So either living with one of the neurodivergents or have been diagnosed recently. And we felt that was really important, especially when we're supporting our community. Having that lived experience and that expertise combined can be really, really powerful.
Is that something you might like to see rolled out across more businesses? People being very, very upfront about what sort of extra challenges they might be facing?
It's completely up to the individual's Felicity. We find that many people aren't quite in a position yet to disclose, especially people kind of in their 40s, 50s, 60s. While they're in the schooling system, being neurodiverse was seen very differently. So they may have been called thick or told to sit in a corner, whereas the younger generations coming through now are a lot more positive about it. So it's really up to the individual. But for us, anyone that discloses can be a very, very powerful thing in supporting others that are in work, that are in the workplace. But we're kind of seeing at the moment about 1% disclosure rate in big organisations, whereas as a neurodiverse community, we make up 15% of the population. So there's a massive difference between the two. I myself, being dyslexic, was very keen to disclose early on and share my story, but it's not the same for everyone. Just because you're neurodiverse doesn't mean you're an ambassador for neurodiversity.
No, absolutely. But it's exciting to hear that you think there's a change coming through with the younger workforce. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot more today. So stay with us. Delighted to have you. I also want to hear from everybody today about their thoughts on all the stories we're going to talk about. You can text 85058 or you can use the hashtag WakeUpToMoney on social media. Matt, you're in recruitment. Would a rise in national insurance cause you any concerns?
I think for us, not particularly at the moment. I think we're seeing a lot of demand for roles. We're finding in some industries kind of 5-10 applicants minimum per role, whereas a while back we were seeing that there was so much competition for individuals applying for work. At the moment, we're kind of seeing it the other way around, especially in our industry and the organisations we're working with. They're desperate for great talent. I don't think we're going to particularly see too much of an impact there.
Now, I don't know your age, Matt, but I can see you on a screen, and I would say that you look relatively youthful. I mean, some ministers are arguing that doing it this way, hiking national insurance, means that younger workers have to shoulder the burden of social care for older people, and some of those older people might have a lot of wealth. They might have property wealth, for example.
Yeah, I mean, for me, maybe it's the filter I've got on. I'm in my 30s now, still
That's young, Matt. That's young.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I think my generation especially, we're kind of getting used to the idea of, being a part of that generation that the parents are the skiers, the ones, the spending kids' inheritance, the ones that are sitting on these large pots of money, and how we get access to that has always been a struggle. I've recently got on the housing market myself, something I would never thought was possible, but it's certainly going to impact the younger ones in our community looking for work. We've got so many young individuals out of work at the moment that we're really trying to support through the Kickstart programs and other government initiatives that are there. So it is going to be difficult, for sure.
It really is a debate that just cuts to the heart of so many different issues, doesn't it? So, Matt, an applicants market, how common is it right now for businesses to be paying retention bonuses?
Yeah, I mean, there's all kind of initiatives being introduced at the moment. We're certainly seeing a lot of retention bonuses, different things being implemented. As kind of I referred to earlier, it is definitely an applicants market. There's so many opportunities out there at the moment. And there's lots of people that have a different expectation on the work they do, the demands, this whole concept of hybrid working. Our staff, we're seeing a real change in momentum, in expectations from us as an employer. And we, even as a teeny organisation with only 16 staff, are having to respond to that, making sure that everything is in place for them, more so than I've ever had to do before and seen in the last 8-9 years, and responding to that in a really positive way. But would definitely agree with that. It's the demand for roles from the beneficiaries we're working with as well. Their expectations on their roles are certainly increased, and they're requiring and asking for more things going into those roles. So employers are definitely having to respond. So
employers are having to respond and perhaps increase things like flexible working, things like that. But is this driving up salaries at the moment as well?
I think so, yes, to a degree. I mean, it will be good to see over the next 6 months exactly where we are at financially with that. But it's definitely driving up some salaries, and the people that we're placing into employment are being much more stubborn with what they're looking for and the amount of money they're asking for when they get to that negotiation stage. And that's both with my staff and with people we're placing. So I think it must be driving up them in some capacity.
Wake Up to Money from BBC 5 Live.
Matt, the front page of the FT has a story today. Centrica warns supply crunch signals higher winter fuel bills. It's saying that providers are unable to fill storage. There are fears businesses might have to switch off, and these soaring prices could be down to the global supply crunch. And natural gas prices are already at records for this time of year. Is this kind of thing, food costs and energy costs, is that worrying, do you think, for the people that you're recruiting?
I think most definitely it's something that maybe our community aren't exposed to all the time. Not to take anything away, but their focus at the moment is on that job market. It's about how to get back into employment. It's about how to disclose their neurodiversity, whatever it may be. But these additional struggles and challenges that are being put upon them is definitely impacting a lot of them in their lives. And we're seeing that more and more. People are coming to us in desperate situations, unfortunately, some of the emails that we get. So we just need to make sure we're supporting them at this point as well.
Yeah, still a lot of tough times for a lot of people. I mean, if you look at jobs here in the UK, we've got new figures from the Recruitment and Employment Confederation, the REC, showing demand for workers remains high. There are thousands of new job adverts posted. The shortage of workers grows. Matt, the shortage of workers, does that hit you in a bad way? Obviously, it's good for people who are looking for work, but does it make it tougher for you to make money as a business?
For us, our model's slightly different. We're not like a traditional recruitment agency where we're working on commission and numbers through the door. We're much more social enterprise. So the work we do with employers, they pay more on a membership basis, and we use that to support people that are out of work. So we're often on that tightrope around social impact and business, and how can we make sure we're in between the two. So as an organisation, no, it's not impacting us in the same way as it might be other recruiters. But I'm sure there's a lot of competition for places out there, especially for those recruiters, and we're not quite in that same space.
Matt, thank you very much.
Wake Up to Money from BBC Radio 5 Live.
Now, we've been discussing job vacancies and shortages a lot. Could a more diverse workforce help solve some of the problems facing the economy? Well, Matt Boyd is founder of Exceptional Individuals, a neurodiversity specialist recruiter that helps people who have dyslexia, dyspraxia, Asperger's, other educational challenges. Matt, why did you set up this business?
So, Felicity, for me, I'm dyslexic myself, and through the education system, I had a lot of support, especially at university. So I really struggle with my spellings and my reading. So my spellings, I often make the same mistakes over and over on the same words. And a lot of them were around, unfortunately for me, things like the words business, employment, experience. They're kind of words that as much as I practice, I just can't get right. So when I graduated university, although I had a first in my degree and really wanted to get into a workforce, recruitment processes, long application forms just weren't my friend. It was really hard for me to get in front of an employer to show them what I could do, to get to that interview stage, to show them who I was and what I could give to their organisation as someone living with dyslexia. And I ended up at the job centre I was signing on at the time, and found myself in a bit of a sticky situation. And that's when I realised that there were many, many others like me, not just dyslexic individuals, but people with autism, ADHD, Asperger's, dyspraxia, things that are hidden, things that employers can't see when you walk into an interview room, that do officially come under kind of government guidelines as disabilities, but just aren't recognised a lot of the time. I did some research. I found out that one quote said that we make up about 40% of the unemployed population. So many people there that are being missed because of recruitment processes. And for my autistic colleagues, for them, it might have been being in an interview. Because they didn't make eye contact with the interviewer, they just weren't being considered for a role, whether it was in data, something that wasn't relevant to it.
That's really important, isn't it? Because that recruitment process itself, it sometimes feels like it's set up particularly to cater for extroverts, for people who are happy to kind of sit and talk about themselves and talk about their achievements.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can promise you the talent that we see come through our doors. So we support anyone that's out of work completely for free. They can get job coaching, they can get one-to-one support, whatever they need. And I have always recruited from that talent pool myself, because there's so many exceptional individuals that come through the doors and can bring so much to organisations, but just the recruitment processes work a lot of the time against them, unfortunately.
Are you getting much interest from employers, or is there a risk that they're just sort of paying a bit of lip service to wanting to be more diverse?
We are. Actually, over the last 2 years, we've had so much interest from employers. When I first started Exceptional Individuals, it was a real challenge, because firstly, I would be going into organisations and educating them about what dyslexia was, what autism was, ADHD, dyspraxia. But now I'm finding every week our employer corporate inbox is filling up with emails from corporate partners looking to employ from our community. And within that, I would say at the moment, 70% are doing it for the right reasons. They know the value that our community are going to bring to their teams. They know they have people in their leadership teams that are neurodiverse, and that's really important. But there's still a small percentage that are doing it maybe just to tick a box, to look good. So we make sure we do a lot of due diligence beforehand to make sure if we're going to place someone in their organisation. So take my story, for example. I now have a spell checker that works across all my systems. When I'm writing an email, I don't need to worry. We make sure we do that due diligence so our community can get that support when they get there.
So, Matt, I mean, a lot of employers potentially listen to this programme, and some of them might be thinking, right, well, I want to recruit, I want to have a diverse workforce, but, if somebody's got dyslexia and it takes them longer to write something, for example, then that might slow down my efficiencies. And, it's a tough market out there. What would you say to them?
There's absolutely not true. There's reasonable adjustments for so many things out there. So, for example, if it was speed of writing, there's so much dictation software now. IT, AI is keeping up with our neurodiverse community, and there's so many amazing solutions out there. There's government funding available. There's a fantastic scheme called Access to Work, which anyone that starts a new job, if you apply to that within the first 6 weeks of employment, you can get fully free funded support, and that could be technology, it could be coaching, training for the individual, training and coaching for your team even, so they understand what neurodiversity is. So I would highly recommend, think again. There are so many opportunities out there if employers do change their way of thinking and look at our community and consider them for the workforce.
Wake up to money from BBC 5 Live.